Alright guys, so today's video is going to be picking the lock on this fuel tank for my 1978 Yamaha XS650. So, long story short, I had two of these. I sold one of them about 2 years ago, but I had swapped the fuel tanks on them. And so the lock on the gas cap and the ignition switch are a paired match. And I don't have a matched pair anymore. So the ignition switch and ignition key that I have, the numbers don't match this particular lock. So I just realized this. I sold the other bike about 2 years ago. I just realized that I don't have a key that fits this tank about 2 weeks ago. So finally getting around to it, I'm gonna try to pick this lock, and then hopefully if I get it open, I'll modify this tumbler so that it works with the key that I have. So I made some pick tools. I've got a little tension wrench and then a little pin raker tool. And these are just made from the little wire handles off of those squeezy binder clips. And I basically just straightened them out, hammered them flat so they would fit into the key slot, and shaped them how I needed them. So let me show you this fuel cap. So there's a spring on the seal under this, so it actually is kind of spring loaded. So my challenge is going to be using my tension wrench and providing some rotational tension on this tumbler while also trying to pick it and hold this spring down. So hopefully I can get it open. So this isn't a lock picking video. I've picked a few locks when I've lost keys or whatever. There's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to pick a lock. There are some ethical reasons to pick a lock. This would be one of them. So I'm going to try to get this open. I'll set you up on my tripod, see how long it takes me. It might be difficult with all the different aspects of trying to pick this. So we'll see how it goes. Let's get started. Here we go. Oh, I got it. Ta-da! Yeah, that's awesome. Ugh. Whew, that stinks. Okay, so two screws are coming out. There's definitely, you can see that little torsion spring down there. So there's some springiness to it, but I think that's just to load this little latch mechanism. So as we tighten the screws down, it should position that properly. And then it looks like maybe just a little stop as far as rotation stop for the tumbler. Oh, this whole thing comes out. Interesting. Okay. So you can see there the numbers on there, 3192. If you look at keys, let me grab the ignition key. So here's the ignition switch, and if you look, put the key over there. So the key has a number stamped on it, 3168. Nobody look up this key and come steal my bike, because I think there's ways that you can look up those numbers. But this is a 3168 too, and this is a 3192. So either I kept the ignition switch from the other one, or I kept a gas cap from the, I can't remember. I don't know. I mean, I've had this particular bike for probably over 10 years, 10, 11 years. And the other one I'd had for probably 6 or 7. And I'd, just lost track of what was what. So, but to get this tumbler out of here, see that little brass colored pin in there? That is the pin that keeps the tumbler in this little housing. So if you use a little dental pick and depress that, the tumbler should fall out. So I'm gonna get in here with this pick, depress that, and No, but you know what? All the others are. All right, so I'm basically going to have to pick this again. Curious how easy it turns. It's not in the, super, super easy. All right, so now that I've got it in this position, this tumbler should come out, I believe. There we go. So as I push this out, you can see all the pins there. Whoa, that had some tension on it. So I'm pushing this ignition key in, and this key is all the way in. You're looking for this pin to be flush, and also on the bottom for the pins to be flush. So, because what that means is when the key's in and these pins are lined up in the little grooves in the key, that nothing is blocking this cylinder from turning inside of these grooves. As I pull this key out, you'll see these pins kind of jump. So that's what happens when you put the key in. So I'm just going to take my file and I'll file off this little nub, and then on the bottom side I'll file off this nub and this nub, and that way this key will unlock this. But when I pull the key out, the tank will still be locked. So this last one, the notch on the key wasn't pulling it down, wasn't holding it up enough. So basically this big open slot, this top part of the slot wasn't actually pushing on the key, and the bottom part wasn't enough. So I don't know if you can see it on there, but I scribed a little line, so that's how much I need to remove for it to be flush with the cylinder. So I'm just going to do that by hand. It's pretty thin up there, but I'm going to give it a try. So I think that might be good. Let's get back in front. Well, poo. Still not quite there. So I think I'm close. So that took way too long. So basically this tumbler, I was putting it in upside down and I couldn't get it to go in, couldn't get it to whatever. So then I did this and I was like, oh, the push was supposed to be on this side. So now you can see I've got it where it is turning that. When this goes in here, this little thing, that is not a rotation limit screw. That is what actually activates the mechanism. So when I turn the key, it pushes that down. It pushes against this to open that little latch. So we are good to go. And it doesn't just work with anything, so I can't stick a screwdriver in there and turn it. So only the key, and it works smoothly. So I'm going to get this put back together. So I just got to kind of hold this latch back to preload that spring while I get these screws started. So there's that. Put the key in, and you can see when I turn, it moves this little actuator arm. So that is good to go. Now, I do have the mismatch in lock numbers. I've got a number on the key that doesn't match what's on his lock. I don't know that I'm going to worry about it, but I'm going to get this put back on the bike, and that way it'll at least keep the stuff from falling in that tank until I get this thing running again. Okay, so caps back on. Ta-da! So that's it for this one, guys. You can see if you've got an old bike like this, some old lock set that you don't have matching number keys for, but you need it working, you can modify the pins in a lock tumbler to get them working with a key that you have. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, give me a thumbs up, hit that like button down there, and if you want to see my other content, check out my channel and give me a subscribe.